Well, then. Settled?
I can't.
We've a right to be happy. Everyone's a right to be happy, Michael.
Everyone, yes. That is why we can't be.
She was determined, but then so was Larry, that she should be a star.
Michael.
And in fact, I remember him once saying,
Yes, dearest, of course we have...
in the very early days, I would never love anybody who wasn't really talented. And of course she was.
You've been to Paris?
Yes.
Doing what?
Finishing school?
Ah. Finished being finished?
Yes.
Good.
Her talent for light comedy was well established by the time she appeared with Rex Harrison in Storm in a Teacup.
You've got yourself into a nice mess, haven't you?
I've won something.
Never mind that. What are you going to do?
Look for another job, I suppose.
If you can get one. And what are you going to do in the meanwhile? You got any money at all?
Yes?
No, thanks. You may need them.
Her romance with Olivier was now common knowledge, but Lee Holman refused to divorce her. He thought the infatuation would soon pass. And though Vivien's passion for Olivier was now central to her life, her focus was still on her career. Vivien was applauded for her rendition of the flirtatious Elsa opposite Robert Taylor in the 1938 A Yank at Oxford.
My husband and I keep a bookshop.
You don't look like you belong in a bookshop.
Oh, I sometimes manage to steal away and forget it. But then, of course, my husband's much older than I am. I mean that I'm much younger than he is.
I'll bet he doesn't understand you, does he?
Oh, well, I wouldn't say that. He just forgets every so often that I'm young and that I need excitement.
I've never loved anyone but you. I'll never love anyone again.
Oh, no, Elsa, no, don't say that.
It's true, Paul. I shall always be faithful to the memory of our love. Always.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Were you looking for something special?
Later that year, Vivien again won good notices for her performance as a Cockney street entertainer opposite Charles Laughton in St. Martin's Lane.
Who are you?
Libby. From Liberty. From the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor.
What you do?
I'm a dancer, I am. And artist, I. Like to hear me? There's a one-eyed yellow monster to the north of Kathmandu. There's a little something...
More than flesh and blood can stand.
But I've been out late before.
Well, it's the last time. We've got to have a totally new arrangement. You in this room and me up there.
Charles, there ain't going to be any more new turns. I'm going on the stage. The agent and Mr. Prentice is fixing it all up. I told you I'd get there. I told you.
Vivien had come a long way from Little Bo Peep in Calcutta, India. She had appeared in 10 films, in 10 plays, but she was still not much recognized outside England. And then she heard of the search for a star for the movie version of Margaret Mitchell's best-selling novel. The setting was the American Civil War, the heroine a Southerner born and bred. Vivien.Leigh had never even been to the United States, and her natural accent was the purest upper-class English. But the role was the most coveted in the history of movies, and Vivien.Leigh decided to make it her own. And so she prepared to take Hollywood by storm. Even as Europe was about to burst into flames with World War II, in Hollywood, where war could still be fantasy, old sets on a backlot were burned for a scene for one of the most spectacular movies ever made, Gone with the Wind. It is now part of legend that against the unforgettable backdrop of Atlanta on fire, David O. Selznick first caught sight of Vivien.Leigh. And Vivien had it planned perfectly. She looked radiant, and Selznick was bowled over.
He was overwhelmed by the determination of this lovely, delicate, fragile English girl to play the part of a Southern heroine.
She was, I'm told, the 244th girl who tested for the part in Gone with the Wind.
But after testing everybody imaginable, she was there was no possibility of another choice. It was just it.
I remember Gone with the Wind with great joy. I was in high school at the time in Miami Beach, Florida, and we were taken out of school for the afternoon to see the film.
My mother took me to see Gone with the Wind when I was a little girl. I was born in 1939, which is the year that Gone with the Wind was made. So you can imagine how many times my mother had seen it by the time she took me to see it.
She was just perfect, absolutely marvelous.
Fiddly-dee. War, war, war. This war talk spoiling all the fun at every party this spring. I get so bored I could scream. Frank, how'd you like to drive me out to my Aunt Pitty's?
Oh, Red, won't everyone be jealous? I want everybody who's been mean to me to be pea green with envy.
Vivien was so utterly feminine, so fragile looking. Sometimes you felt that if you touched her, she was going to crack like very fine porcelain. But that was also deceptive. She was as tough as a nut in many other ways.
Great balls of fire. In my 40 years now, I'm going to Atlanta for that $300, and I've got to go looking like a queen.
Keep boiling water in the kettle. Give me the ball of twine and all the clean towels you can find and the scissors.
I'm going to make friends with the Yankee carpetbaggers, and I'm going to beat them at their own game, and you're going to beat them with me.
Never mind about loving me. You're a woman sending a soldier to his death with a beautiful memory. Scarlett, kiss me. Kiss me once.
You low-down, cardly, nasty thing, you. They were right. Everybody was right. You aren't a gentleman.
It was a great acting performance. She wasn't a spoilt girl. She wasn't a haughty girl. She wasn't a cruel girl. She wasn't any of those things, actually. She was a terrific woman, and she was a wonderful actress and played a marvelous role wonderfully well.
26-year-old Vivien.Leigh had so successfully inhabited the character of Scarlett that she made it her own. And in one swoop, she created millions of adoring fans. But meanwhile, the one person she really longed to be with was 3,000 miles away.
The first time I met Vivien.Leigh was on the set of Gone with the Wind, just when the picture was starting. Although she had romped off with the most coveted role in screen history, she was very miserable because Larry was in New York, and she missed him so dreadfully that one day she got David Selznick to let her come to New York and see a matinee of No Time for Comedy. And during the intermission, she went back to see Larry, and they clasped each other and clung to each other so that you'd think it was the farewell scene from Romeo and Juliet.
In 1940, Vivien again appeared opposite Robert Taylor in the romantic love story, Waterloo Bridge. Of all the films she made, this one was her favorite.